Welcome back, folks. In this episode, I'm going to test your theory about whether or not an RFP is a request for proposal. Welcome to the Intentional Success Podcast, where we unpack the top strategies, explore business trends, and drill down into best practices to help your live events production business grow and scale on purpose. I'm your host, Tom Stimson. So what if that fancy new RFP you just got isn't what you think it is? You know that feeling. You've been courting this company for months, maybe years, and they finally announced that, hey, we'd really like to hear from you this year about the big event. You know the event. It's the one you've always wanted. It's the one that's going to solve all of your problems, show the world how great you are. It's the thing you need to fix your business and fix your year. Great. Awesome. I'm so proud of you. So they give you an RFP. Well, that's normal, right? That's what big events do, big productions. They put together specs. They have to vet people at a very high level. Of course, they put a request for proposal together. Of course, they want to find out what it's going to cost. And most importantly, they want to hear what your great ideas are, right? Oh my goodness, our design. We've got to focus on our design. We've got to do all these renderings. We've got to do all these drawings. We have to commit all these resources. Well, let's just tap the brakes for a second. What if that's a decoy? What if the RFP isn't really testing that at all? What if the RFP says, yeah, sure, you're going to show us some designs. We've seen designs before. Great. There's nothing really new on the face of the earth. You know, everybody can do a nice design, twinkly lights, LED walls. It's not that difficult. Okay. And regardless of who they hire, they can get a great design from anywhere and get that company to execute it. The company who created the design isn't necessarily going to win the job. We all know that. So maybe it's not the design that they're looking for. An RFP might be a test. What are they testing for? And then why does it matter? So if you think that a request for proposal, the opportunity to write a bid or do a quote, is a pricing request, well, then stop right now. Okay. The only right way to answer a pricing request is, what price do you want it to be? I'll make it that price. Let me tell you how much I can do for that price. Any exercise where you have to guess at a price and bring a price to the table for a complex design, ideas, execution on incomplete information, RFPs aren't leveling the playing field. Okay. And if they're not leveling the playing field, what is the purpose of them? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's a test. What are RFPs testing? If you think it's only about price, stop. Here's what it might be about. Here are 10 things that I'm very nearly positive that most people giving you an RFP are actually looking for instead of your best price or stealing your design. Are you ready? Sit back. This is going to make your life easier. Number one, they're looking for intelligence. The company that doesn't recognize that the RFP might be more than a request for design and pricing is probably not as intelligent as we would like them to be. Matter of fact, when you take that tact, a lot of buyers are going, oh, that's a little disappointing. Well, let's see what they have. Okay. Are you giving an intelligent response to a very expensive ask? Okay. Your intelligence has to escalate with the size of the budget. You don't have to be that intelligent to make a $10,000 buyer happy. You got a $2 million buyer, you better be really smart and you better show it from the first question. Number two, they are interested in your expertise. They're not interested in everything that you know. They're interested in, do you have expertise that you can apply appropriately? So that kind of connects intelligence with expertise. We all know people who are super smart because they tell you, and then they proceed to tell you everything that they know, right? but that's not necessarily a sign of intelligence. That's a sign of insecurity. So are you going to be able to demonstrate the expertise that is appropriate for this situation, and maybe also imply that there's a lot of other expertise back there? That expertise and that potential is probably more important to the couple of designs that you settled on after you cranked out 50 of them. You know what? They're also looking for rapport. They're checking your personality. How do you respond to this? Here, I want to give you a very dry request with very lofty hopes and dreams. And am I going to get any personality back? Or I'm going to get a technical workaday approach to this. Okay. What's the relationship that we're going to have on here? So rapport, personality of your not just yourself, but your business. And trust me, your business has a personality. And if you're trying to cover it up with your own, everybody can see it. Make sure that your business comes to the table with the right personality. Now, they're also looking for competence. And competence, you might think, is implied by intelligence, expertise, and rapport, but it's not. Okay? You can be a really horrible person to be around, be extremely competent at your job. And now that I've said that, you're all going, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, she's exactly that way. Oh, man, he's that way all the time. Okay. We need to demonstrate competence because there are a lot of incompetent approaches to what we do on a daily basis. And buyers have seen incompetence. That's why they're shopping around. That's why the last company lost the job, is that in spite of all the other things that they did right, they showed a fundamental level of incompetence somewhere, and it might have been an insignificant thing, but it tells the buyer that the incompetence starts at the top and worked its way down. Another thing they're looking for, of course, is creativity, but not just the creative, mindset that I know how to make pretty pictures and designs and great ideas. They need to see that creativity is in your thinking at all times, that you are creative in the moment, that your business model is creative, your strategy is creative. And again, this is not about being art school creative. This is about being highly intelligent creative. It's one thing to be intelligent. It's another thing to be clever with it. So intelligence and cleverness is often creativity. So are you going to show some creativity, or are you going to draw in between the lines like the RFP is asking for? Is this a test? Okay. Do they really want you to draw between the lines and submit a spreadsheet? Or are they looking for some level of creativity? And if they are asking you to draw between the lines, why the heck are you wasting any time being creative with these people? Or why are you wasting your time with them at all? Number 6, logic. Okay. If then. Buyers recognize your ability to be logical in situations. It is logical that if we're going to have a rehearsal at 4 p.m., then we need to be rehearsal ready by 4 p.m. And if they don't see you taking their RFP and making logical conclusions, instead you're asking silly, self-evident questions, which means you're not applying logic, that's not a good look on you. So are you using your logic? Okay. And are you willing to say, here's what we believe you're asking for? Our logic says, if we want to have a rehearsal at 5, then we need to have a walkthrough at 3. Okay. So that's how you apply logic. Okay. You just say, hey, we looked at this very logically. No, show us what that means. Don't show me that you're going to be scrambling up to 4:59 and then find out that we're not ready for rehearsal. If we're going to rehearsal ready at 5 o'clock, how's that affect the entire timeline? And how are we going to guarantee that success? Practicality. We're often very good at showing how impractical we can be. Our designs are often impractical. Some of our ideas are impractical. Heck, many of the RFPs we get are impractical. Are you calling out the impracticalities? Is it a test for you to identify that it makes no sense at all to move this meeting into that room for 15 minutes and then bring it back to the same room? Why don't we just change the look and feel of that room so we can have that meeting in here? Okay. Are you being practical with the client's money? Is there another reason behind it that they didn't reveal? That would be an intelligent question. So are you practical? Intuition. Intuition's tough, but I want people to be intuitive. If I'm the buyer, I want you to be intuitive. I want you to be intuitive enough to recognize that now is the right time to ask the question, or now is not the right time to ask the question. Okay? I want you to be intuitive enough to say, hey, if I was really a serious buyer, I would accept your invitation to have a meeting next week to go over the things that we just talked about, because that's part of the process. I expect you to be intuitive about what needs to be done and expect me to do those things. There's a lot of places that intuition plays. I'm going to assume some things, but I'm also going to intuit some things, which is that application of logic and intelligence and creativity. Now, style matters. Okay, style is not just a design thing. It's your approach to work. It's your joie de vivre. It's how do you do things. It's the look and feel of your tools, right? Are your equipment cases stylish? Okay, or are they transportation? Right? Where does your style reflect? Are all of your crew in the same black shirt with the logo over the left breast pocket? Okay. Or are you more stylish? Where does your style manifest? And is that good for the customer? Okay. Does it make them feel better about you? Is style a positive reflection on who you are? Because sometimes style isn't. The last thing, at the end of the day, pardon me for saying that tired phrase, the client is looking for compatibility. Are you going to be compatible with their needs? So an RFP isn't a request for you to propose your ideas of what you think they want. It's actually a test of intelligence, expertise, rapport, competence, creativity, logic, practicality, intuition, style, and ultimately compatibility. Okay? It's a human interaction with humans. It's not an event and a proposal. So take a hard look at that RFP. Think about what you need to do to be valuable to that buyer. And if they don't appreciate those things and you intuit that that's not what they're going to appreciate, you now can make a decision about whether or not this project is worth pursuing. Because like I said, if it's only on price, it's a short conversation. Tell me what price you want it to be. I'll tell you what I can do for it. Pretty darn simple. That would be the intelligent response to a price-driven RFP. So, is this a test? Everybody's watching. Take the test. Thanks for listening. If you want to find out more about today's episode, go to trstimson.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes, related links, and tons of other valuable resources. If you haven't already subscribed to the Intentional Success Podcast, please do so, and I'd greatly appreciate if you would rate and review the show. Also, if you think you might be a good fit to work together or want more information about the Stimson Group, I'd love to hear from you. Visit trstimson.com for more information.